Well, what matters is that we're going to get the meat of this important tips from you now. So go ahead and take over.
Great. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank you guys, Missa and Carolyn and Brandy, who are running this group for, asking me to be here. I'm excited and honored, really. And I'm just going to share what I've learned throughout my 2.5, 3 years that, I'm always tweaking, but some things that have worked for me. Missa kind of gave you the meat of it. I was a social worker, and I started this business. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about this business and how I started it. Like she said, I started, overweight because I had my son dealing with postpartum depression, and I simply became a discount coach. So I think this is an important part before I get into the month scheduling thing. So you guys know that wherever you're at right now, maybe you started thinking, oh, I'm just going to be a discount coach. I started that way. Okay. I started as a discount coach, simply wanting to get a discount on Shakeology, not believing that I could inspire, lead, or do anything beyond just simply get a discount. And I started with my own sharing of my own journey on my fitness page. And that's how it all started, putting the roles, the good, the bad, the ugly out there, and people like embracing that and supporting that. And that gave me confidence to think maybe I could help other people. And that's kind of how I fell into coaching, actually coaching beyond the discount. So when I finally caught that bug about 6 months into coaching, I was working in mental health. I was working with mentally ill, schizophrenic, and very aggressive individuals. And I was a mom to an 18-month-old. So I was, struggling with all types of plates in the air, and a very stressful job. But I knew that something about this job, about this business, was resonating with me because I was seeing results in my own fitness. And I was like, man, maybe I could help someone else. And maybe I'll do this challenge group thing. So I started doing challenge groups, but I started working my business at night because I didn't have any other time. I was gone all day at work. I would spend time with my son, my husband. We'd work out at night, and then I start my business hours 9:30 to about 10:30, 11. So that's how I started. So I think that's important for me to share that first and foremost, because a lot of us are in that situation. We work a full-time job, and most of us started that way, and we wonder, how are we going to make it work? You make it work when it works for you. And for me, it worked in the evenings, to do an hour and a half a night, an hour sometimes. And simply what it would look like is I would check into my challenge group. Sometimes I had one person in my challenge group. Sometimes I ran them on email because they didn't have Facebook. I mean, it was like sad and pathetic, but I just did the best I could. And I was like, I'm going to help one person each month. And I will tell you, for the first 6 months, because this is going to go right into the Success Club meat of what I'm about to tell you, I didn't focus on Success Club, okay? Not because I wasn't told to focus on Success Club, but because I was a social worker at heart. And I was like, I'm going to help everybody. And everybody who comes my way, I'm going to add them to my challenge groups. And if they can't afford to buy anything, it's okay because I just want to help people, right? That's like noble. But here's the thing that I have found, and you might want to write this down. If you don't give people the tools for success, they are not going to succeed, okay? What they do with those tools is up to them, but giving people the tools to succeed is going to set them up for success, and is going to set you up to have success stories. And what I mean by that is this. I would let all types of people in who were like not ready to buy a challenge pack because I really wasn't pushing the challenge pack. They would come to my group, they'd be all gung-ho, they'd have the motivation at first, and then they'd leave my group saying I had no results. Well, of course you didn't, because I could only be so inspiring, right? You didn't get the tools that would help you succeed, aka the challenge packs, nutrition, fitness, support equals success. And so it didn't click for me, you guys, for about 6 to 7 months that I needed to focus on challenge packs. This is so huge. And I was afraid because I was afraid of that salesy thing. I was like, I don't want to sell anything. But what was happening is I wasn't having success stories. And people were leaving my group and fizzing out early. And I'm like, and then I was thinking it was me because I'm like, gosh, I must not be inspiring enough. Well, no, they didn't have the tools. So the analogy I always give my coaches is this, you've got two motivated people, right? Who want to build a home. Let's say we're talking about a home. And both of them want to build this home, and one has the tools, the jackhammer, the drill, the crane, whatever it is, and one has no tools. Both go to the site and they're like, let's do this. Let's break ground. Who's going to make more headway? Obviously, the person with tools. The other person's going to look at the other person and say, well, I just, I can't do anything because you have no tools. you have nothing to help you succeed. And that's how, when I started embracing that concept and mind shifted and started seeing Success Club and challenge packs as tools versus sales, and providing people with solutions and tools versus, me feeling like, oh, are they going to think I'm trying to sell them? Stuff started happening for me. But it all started with that decision for me with me to use those programs. So I just want to sit on that for a second. Use the programs. And I see a huge correlation in myself and my coaches and people I run across in my team. When you fall off your fitness or you feel bad about your fitness, because life happens, we all fall off our fitness, it's a correlation of how well you feel about your business and how well you do. When you get a hold of your fitness, right, you feel more authentic and you're more likely to talk about those tools in a way that feels authentic and you can convey that value. So it starts with you, first of all, just walking the walk, talking the talk, being on Shakeology, believing in it 120%, and then also conveying that value so you could say to someone, these are the tools I use and here's how they've helped me. Who cares if you don't have a 90-pound success story? Maybe you have my skin is clear success story, or my energy's better, or my goodness, like I can't believe that my stomach is regulated. I mean, whatever your story is, or what maybe it's a program, if you have a story, you can convey the value of those tools you're trying to share with people. So when I started embracing that and started focusing on Success Club, I started seeing my business grow. And I heard Janelle, I heard Meg, I heard all these people talk about focus on Success Club. And all I kept thinking is, that's scary, but, and it's a hard concept. It was hard for me to see how to convey that value. But the easiest thing, and I know you guys just finished a 21-day training, Missa shared with me, is putting yourself out there on Facebook and letting people know what you're doing. And that's what's going to tell people like, oh, she's walking the walk. They're talking the talk. Okay. So that's the tools you're talking about. That kind of ties it all together and puts the bow on it. So what I started doing probably in the last 4 months, well, let me back up for a second. Sorry. What I started doing about a year and a half ago, I was determined to hit Success Club monthly because there was 1 month in November about a year and a half ago that I didn't hit it. And I felt like crap. And so I was like, that's never going to happen to me again. And I hated that energy I felt at the end of the month when I was like straggling to hit Success Club. What I was finding is I was being pushy and I was being salesy sounding and like, ew, like what I do not want to be. So I was like, what am I going to do? And it's nothing new. Miss, I know, has implemented this system. It's a system that other peoples have used, but people have used. But when I started doing this for myself, it really made a difference for me and my team. And I started focusing on hitting Success Club the first week of the month. At first, I started focusing on Success Club 5, and then it went to Success Club 10. And the way I did that is I started talking to people 3 weeks before my challenge group would start. And I'm going to get into how I set up my month, but basically my challenge group always starts the second Monday of the month. That just works out well for me because I go back 3 weeks, okay? So the 3 weeks prior to that, that's when I start sprinkling in challenge posts. And it's not always going to be join my challenge or success stories of myself. It might be a recipe. It might be a transformation of somebody in my group. It might be something like, it might be something more bold, like a invitation. Sometimes I'll promote a post. But the idea is that 3 weeks, and I like the analogy of dating, it gives you the chance to court them, okay? Because when you don't give yourself enough time, you're trying to get like from first to fourth base right away, and people sense that. And it's happened to me, and it's icky, and it's like, hold on, I don't want to make that decision right away. But when you give yourself 3 weeks to talk to people, because let's face it, not everybody's like on Facebook like we are. You have to follow up with them back and forth. Sometimes it'll take 2 days for them to respond, sometimes less. But you have that chance to form them. You have that chance to talk to them, answer questions, and not feel like you're forcing them into a decision. That system has been instrumental for me. And like Missa said, I've hit Success Club 10 plus in the last 14 months because I've used that system. If I've ever deviated from that, I find myself in a situation where I have to push harder towards the end of the month, and I don't like that feeling. So this is just what's worked for me and what I teach my coaches to do. Give yourself a cushion of 3 weeks. Whenever you decide your challenge group to be, maybe the second Monday doesn't work for you, but just give yourself a cushion of 3 weeks. And it may seem like a freaking long time, but you got to figure if you're talking to a lot of people, you want to have no pressure to feel like you got to make that close, right? You want to just have time to talk to them. So that's really worked well for me. Missa's the queen of event invites, and I learned this from her, and I started tying that in. I do event invites also in conjunction with talking to people 3 weeks ahead. And that kind of captures things in two ways. Not only are you sprinkling things on your main page and your like page if you have one. If you don't, just do it on your main page. Make sure your page is public. Big tip there. And your profile is public, I mean. And then I do event invites. And again, it starts 3 weeks out, and every day you post something interesting, a recipe, and you make them public so other people who are not in your friend list can see that, and they may click going, and then that gives you someone to reach out to say, I saw you're going to my event. Are you working with a coach? Can I help? Whatever. So it's a really great way to give yourself that time and just feel leisurely about it. And then I set a registration open date between the first, it's very tight, between the 1st and the 4th of the month. I'm like, you got to order. You got to get your packs in if you want to start with everybody on the second Monday. And I just tell them, and that's the tip with this, is people like to be told what to do. Too many options confuses people. And I used to give people too many options, and I used to think, well, that's going to do them a favor. It doesn't. People want to be told what to do. So I tell them, this is what you need to do on this date. Here's what you click. Here's how you do it. Let me know when you've finished. And you do it in a nice way. You just use your own flavor to it. But I find that when I do that, people respond. If I've given myself that time, if I give myself a week or a week and a half, people are like, I need to think about it more. So that's why I find the 3 week is like magic for me. And I've taught my coaches to do the same thing. And like Missa said, I've had new coaches, and it's amazing to see brand new coaches who are like exceeding me when I started, like they're hitting success starters their first 3 months of the business, because I'm telling them Success Club is non-negotiable. You want to help 3 people a month, non-negotiable at least. And if you do that, you're going to succeed, you're going to see an income, and you're going to give people success stories. So then they start focusing on that, and they're like, oh, okay. So people, new coaches that you embark, whether you're a new coach and you don't have a coach yet, you will, and you just set the standard for them. And if you set the standard for them, they will follow. They're not going to know anything different. They're going to think this is what's expected, and they're going to rise to the occasion. So that's something that it mind blows me every time I see that. I'm like, really? So you're going to hit Success Club? Awesome. Okay. I'm going to tell everybody that now. So I'm going to tell you guys how I set up my month now. And I want to give credit. Anita Myron did an awesome training on this. Her month is a little different than mine, but it inspired me to set up my month. After I watched her video, I was like, why am I not focusing on different things each week? And why am I trying to focus on challenge groups every single week of the month? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it just felt like it was so overwhelming. So I decided that each week I'm going to have a different focus. So as I mentioned, the last 2 weeks of each month, I focus on sprinkling my challenge posts, okay? The first week of the month, I do the order deadlines of ordering for the start date of my challenge group, which starts on Monday, the second Monday of the month. Now, I open up my Beachbody Challenge group that first week. Beachbody Challenge group starts the second week. And then as soon as that challenge group starts, the second week, I start advertising on Thursday some free group, okay? It used to be a clean group. But I encourage you guys to, and Missa and I and Meg, we were in Ohio a few weeks ago, we talked about, don't limit yourself to just clean groups. Maybe your forte is like something else, like you want to do a booty challenge or something else, a 7-day challenge. Maybe you're over the clean eating groups. It's okay. Just some kind of free, clean value group that is going to capture people who maybe can't afford something, and they're going to see you as a resource, okay? So that second week on Thursday, I start advertising that. My challenge group already started, and I start advertising my free group. And then I add people that weekend, and I started the third Monday of each month. So this month I'm doing a 14-day toned arm challenge. It's just felt better than doing a clean. And I started a little differently this month, but basically it starts the third Monday of the month. And so keep in mind what I said about the challenge group. So you added those freebies the third week. Well, that third week, you're starting to advertise for your next month's challenge because you want to advertise 3 weeks ahead. I hope I'm not confusing things here, but so those people who are on your friend list in that free group are starting to see those posts because they're watching you. So you're kind of sprinkling challenge groups and you're offering that free value to them. And, at the end of that free group, if it's a 5-day or 7-day group, you're going to ask them, hey, have you seen my post on my upcoming 21-day group that starts in a couple of weeks? So it gives you a very comfortable way to approach these freebies for your actually paid groups because you've offered them something free. And it just makes it more comfortable. You could just be like, hey, you've done great in this arm challenge or booty challenge. By the way, I'm not sure if you saw my post, but I'm doing something in 3 weeks. And it just makes it like, oh, okay, cool. You just gave me free time. They may say no, but it just gives you those people. And if they say no, at least you have follow-up people, right? So because we want to attract more people to us that we can follow up with because it's all about adding more people to our network. So that's the third week. And I'm looking at my calendar here. So that same third week on Thursday, and this gets crazy, I decided that I had to do 3 focuses, you guys, each month. My own full Beachbody challenge group, something free, and recruiting. Hello, we want to grow our teams, right? So I was like, what's that third focus I need to focus on each month? Recruiting. So that third week on Thursday, I start promoting a 5-day or 3-day or however many days you do your coach internship. And so when I say promote, I start posting little, it might be an invite to coaching. It might be like a what is coaching post call. Whatever you want that to look like, I start doing it that Thursday. And I keep it very tight. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I try to get people engaged in that. And then I start it the 4th Monday of the month, which is my 5-day coach internship. So let me go ahead and summarize. The second Monday of each month is my full Beachbody challenge group. For me, typically it's 21-day groups. They just work for me. It's what works for me. Even when people do Insanity Max 30, that's what I do. I just add them to my 21-day group. Third Monday is free group of some sort, okay? And the 4th Monday is a coach internship group. So you have covered paid groups, you have covered freebies, and you have covered recruiting. And what that did for my mind is it helped me delineate from not always being in challenge group mode or not always being in recruiting mode and not always being in free mode. It just kind of freed my mind a little bit. Now, in addition, you could always you always do your power of 3. You always connect with people daily. That's a given. But anyway, that's kind of how I set up my month. Do you want me to answer these questions now, Missa? Sorry.
Hey, yeah. I think you're open to sharing like an example of your monthly calendar. Someone wanted to see if you would share your calendar. Can you hear me?
I have my calendar here. I could take a snapshot and share it with you.
Yeah, that would be good.
Sorry, I'm like old school with paper and pencil sometimes. I do electronic stuff, but can I send it in a private message and you can share it with them? Is that cool?
Yeah, so I just want to kind of review. I know you kind of did a summary of it, but just to be clear, the second Monday you start your challenge group, but that week, like you start your challenge group on Monday. Yes. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like that week you're already posting about your free group. And then that weekend you add all those people who you were talking to that week. Meanwhile, you have your challenge group going, but in your social media world, you're now talking to people that week. You're getting your clean eating group started on that third Monday. But while you still have your challenge group going in the background, now you have your clean eating group starting. But now that week, you're going to be posting about your 5-day coach internship, right? And then
I'm sorry. And I know Brandy asked coach, I'm sorry. I'm using that interchangeably. Yeah, it is the coach sneak peek. Yeah. That's the thing. Thank you for asking that, Brandy. Yeah, sorry I used internship, but it's the sneak peek.
So guys, I just wanted to make that clear. I mean, some of you might understand, but to me, I wrote that down because I picked up on Manny saying, while she has her one thing running, she's already moved into the next thing and she's promoting that thing to start for the next week. So, it's kind of very seamless. She knows each month what she's going to start doing. And then it's duplicatable with your team. I know some of you guys are probably using calendars. I know Brandy has a calendar in her team page. Carolyn has a calendar. People do it differently, but I just thought with the 3-week structure, I know a lot of people come on as new coaches and they're really worried about, sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't looking at you guys. I was looking. But I know it's like, I don't want to seem salesy. When you give yourself that 3-week window and you're also kind of, you're not feeling pushy or salesy and you have a system to follow. So, maybe you'll get to the point where you'll be able to rock these out in like a week and you'll feel comfortable to follow up and get people in your groups faster. But this seems to be a really great system. If you have that fear of being too pushy or being too salesy sounding, you want to give yourself time to build the relationship and cultivate that relationship and the trust, because, being a coach for 3 years, and I'm sure if even you're a new coach, you'll have a friend say they're going to do it, and then something
all the time
comes up, and people are like, well, man, I was going to hit Success Club this month, but my friend backed out. Well, that's why you never want to just have that one person who you're counting on. We always have to be talking to people and inviting people. So maybe if there's some stuff in the chat that you want to answer.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I really liked what I'm sorry. I was looking what Kyla said. You're right. If you don't give them this, and it sounds bossy, but it's not. It's like, tell people what to do and they're going to more likely do it than if you give them too much open window. Like you said, Kyla, it's like, I hope I'm saying that right, or Kyla, but if you give them like a date of like order between whenever you start your group, just the week before, give them like 3-day window, you got to order between this date and this date to ensure you get your goodies in on time. Now, there's going to be stragglers that happen to come to you out of the woodwork towards the end of that registration window. And sometimes even when your group started, what I do with those people is I let them order, of course, and I tell them, hey, my group started. I'm going to add you to my already starting group. Don't feel like you're behind the 8 ball. You're going to automatically get a spot in my next group also. So I still add those people, but as far as like those people I'm talking to that have been intentional about ordering, I'm like, you got to order on this date. And you just got to tell them. And that confidence is conveyed and people respond to that. Not always, but it starts getting better. And the more you do that, the more comfortable you get with that. So yeah, it works really well.
You know what? I also find that when you're talking to people about challenge packs, giving them 2 choices. Like, you're the coach, you ask them questions, you figure out their goals. Don't just say, well, yeah, you can pick any challenge pack. No, be authoritative and say, what are your goals? What are you looking to do? Okay, here's the program I recommend. If this doesn't seem right for you, I have another one in mind, but this is the one I'm leaning towards, and I always send them a YouTube video clip. And sometimes I send 2 right away. And I'm like, these are the 2 that I'm thinking for you. This is why I think these would be the good, like one or the other. I don't just say, here, go to my site and.
No, never.
It's too much. So, I agree 100% with Manny. When you give someone limited choices, not that you don't want to like not give them all the opportunity, but you want to figure out what's going to work for them the most. And then, obviously the challenge pack's the best value. So why wouldn't they? Like, why wouldn't we lead with that? Right?
Absolutely. And I know I've seen Missa's templates too. I have my own templates for my team. Missa has amazing templates. I'm sure all the leaders here have templates. But I find that the templates, I always say, ask more questions. Use that template, and make it your own. Ask questions. If in doubt, I'm like, what kind of workouts do you like? And then I literally say to them, okay, if I hear nutrition, I like kind of a mix of weights and cardio. Okay, so you haven't worked out in a while. I'm not going to recommend Insanity Max 30, even though that's my soulmate workout, because they're going to fail, So I kind of feel confident, like Mista said, either to offer them, okay, 21-day fix. You've done intense workouts? Okay, let's think about extreme. Oh, you haven't worked out in 6 months, but you want to get a hold of your nutrition and lose 10 pounds? Yeah, 21-day fix. So feel confident to recommend it, and then they will trust you, because people are going to look at all the challenge packs and they'll be like needle in a haystack, and they'll be like, I have no idea what to order. If I could, Miss, I wanted to share, I know our time is running out. I wanted to share this concept, sorry. And if you're not sure, ask your coach, absolutely. Yeah, good point. This is something that my husband said, because he's like the corporate guy and business mind of the family, and he shared this with me, and he shared it a few months ago with me, and I shared it with my team, and it just resonated with me so much, and it's exposure, okay, or doing is what you need to do, and then the confidence will follow. And this is what I've shared with my team. A lot of times as coaches, including myself when I started, I was like, because I'm type A, I'm like, I need to understand it all before I do anything. I need to read the manual. Hold on. Can I please read the policy and procedure manual first? I want to make sure everything makes sense. And you could sit on the sidelines and second guess yourself till you're blue in the face. And believe me, that was breaking outside my comfort level to be like, I'm going to try something that I may fail at. No, I kind of don't like failing, But what I have found is by putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, exposure and doing, the confidence, the success follows. And it sounds backwards, you guys, but since I've started doing that, and since I've told my coaches, I'm like, so who cares if you put a post out there and it flops? So who cares if you invite 20 people and they say no? But it builds your experience. It builds your confidence. You know how to talk to them. And like Missa said, it's like, eventually you get better at talking to them within a week versus 3 weeks or whatever. But the more, if you have an idea in your head, I challenge you guys to do it. Like, just try it. Put something out there, and who cares if it flops? It'll get better. It'll get better if you keep doing that. That's been the probably biggest game changer for me as far as like, I don't know, practical and non-practical tip. Do, and the confidence will follow, as opposed to wait till you figure it out and then do it. It's been mind-blowing for me and my team. And so I teach that, exactly. Yeah, you just got to take a leap of faith for sure. That's kind of the same thing that you're not going to always figure it out. And the last thing I wanted to share with you guys, the last tip was, I think an analogy, so sorry, I hope that's not annoying, but I always tell my team, I'm like, when you're a new coach or when you're a seasoned coach, it's kind of like whatever you're planning, whenever you're talking to potential coaches or challengers, think of yourself as planting a seed in the ground, right? You don't see anything happening, right? But every day, if you plant a garden, you're not going to be like, I'm not watering that seed, because it's going to die, right? No, you water it, but you don't see progress for so long, it seems. 60 days, 90 days, you're like, nothing's happening. No fruit is producing. Yeah. Yep. Never going to see those tomatoes bloom. I mean, and it's very tempting, you guys, in the beginning to lose faith. Believe me, I've been there. I'm sometimes there too. And I'm like, nope, I'm watering. You know what I mean? I'm not seeing a leaf, but I'm watering. And so I challenge you guys to remember that analogy is like, you may not see something outside of the surface yet, but underneath stuff is happening. The compound effect, which we know about, if you keep watering. And it's going to blow your mind what those daily waterings will do for your business, even when seemingly nothing is happening. Because one day a leaf is going to pop, then a little shoot, and then a bloom. And it's only going to happen if you're just diligent about watering daily. So I just had to put that out there, because that's what I preach to my team all the time. So that's it. That's all I got.
Manny, thank you so much. I can just tell on people's faces that they're really taken by what you're saying, and I think it's sinking in. And from the comments, yes, people are saying thank you so much.
You're so welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for giving me this chance to speak to you guys.
Yeah, I think it's perfect timing too, because we're wrapping up our last week. We've been learning how to post on Facebook. Some of our coaches are doing their first 5-day clean eating groups, or they're doing their first challenge groups, or they got big goals, for Success Club this month. So I think this is a really good fire up for the last week of our training. I know it seems kind of gruesome, even in challenge groups, you guys might notice people putter out and it just kind of feels like it gets a little bit harder, but I promise this 21 days, Manny's been through this training everything that you need to know is in this training in such a easy way to, we've been through other ones that seem like so much. And this one just kind of delivers everything really nicely. So I hope you guys have been, soaking it in or going back and following up. I'm planning on running this again with my team. And I just, hope you guys are benefiting. And I hope this fires you up to start a calendar, for the rest of the month even, or look up your team's calendar and say, okay, how can I make this work for me? Or think about Manny's, how she scheduled it for her, and say, maybe that'll work for you. You guys can friend Manny and ask her questions.
Ask me any questions, you guys. I have to say one thing, Missa, this is important. When I became a coach, I went to Missa and I asked her so many questions, you guys, in the beginning. And she was so helpful to me. And I just have to say, don't overlook the opportunity to connect with other coaches in this business. And she was one of the people, besides my upline coach, Meg, who's also a dear friend, who always answered my questions, and she helped me. And that makes such a difference. So don't ever feel like you're alone. Like, if you're clueless, ask somebody, and I always make it a point because, that branch was reached out to me. I was like, I'm going to try to help other coaches too. Not that I'm an expert, but I'm like, I was helped when I needed help, and I still need help sometimes. So I'm going to do the same. So just, it's amazing. It makes a big difference.
It's cool to be a part of something where you want to see each other succeed, because I think a lot of us are used to being a part of an environment where you're not supported by other, especially females. I don't know if anyone else experienced that, but Beachbody is so the opposite. So, don't be afraid. Approach this as family, and, we want to see everyone do well. So anyway, this is going to be recorded. I hope you guys want to watch this again, pass it on to your team. It was awesome. Thank you so much, Manny. Does anyone have a question? Brandy or Caroline, did you want to say anything before we wrap up? Last week, I'm going to be posting this week, guys.
Thank you so much. Woohoo, Missa. Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Manny.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great night, guys.
Great to see all you lovely ladies. Bye, guys.
Bye.